we're going to keep the show moving. We got to move through the next topic kind of quickly. We're going to go through MLB standings and leaders this year so far. So we really don't have any notes on this. But yeah. So like teams that are leading, we'll just go. Do you want to read the divisions off or no?
Not necessarily. It's just like what do you think? Like maybe like 2-3 teams that have surprised you, 2-3 teams that have disappointed.
Teams that disappointed me was Cleveland. Oh, actually the Central in general, just like how this is happening. But I think we're seeing an effect of not spending enough money, and then also just like the analytical stuff. I feel like these teams on paper should probably be this bad. So they're really. I mean, when you look at the Tigers, you got Miguel Cabrera. That's their noticeable player. We got the Twins. You got Mauer, Dozier. That's all I could think of off the top of my head. Who's your second? No, the third baseman. So no, never mind. I'm thinking of someone else. Kansas City. No one on that roster I can think of off the top of my head that's like a standout player. Okay. And then Cleveland is Abreu. Like they've lost too many pieces already. There's a lot of guys that are not there anymore, unfortunately. They're probably the whole division is probably disappointing. My most surprising team, I think the Angels are pretty surprising for me because I'm surprised that they've lasted.
How good or how bad?
How good they've been.
Wow. Okay.
But also the West has been they've been hot. This is a good year for the West. I think we kind of expected the Astros to be that good.
Yeah.
Just because of how young and how consistent they're playing, Verlander's been like their pitching in general. I think is that they have like an under 2.0 ERA.
They have that. The Houston Astros arguably have one of the best, like 1 through 4 for sure, if not 1 through 5 of like all time.
Yeah.
They have a truly great rotation.
It's insane. But like when you throw that in, like I don't know how I think the Mariners actually just jumped the Astros today.
They did.
So I don't know how they're staying afloat. I gotta watch more of them. I feel. I would say they're probably surprising too, but I need to watch a little bit more of them. I've not caught. They're not unlike them. They haven't been really prime time for me for the times I've been watching. The Braves have been good in the East over there too. They got a lot of good young guys that are keeping them afloat as well. I like watching the Phillies at the moment too. I like Herrera. I don't know why. I just like the sound. Like he's like a Bryce Harper guy. Like the pop, like the sound of the ball. Like that. Okay. I think you'll see Washington start to either take over and then gain some ground. I think they have the most depth. I didn't realize how much depth they had. Or not depth, but like how their positioning wise. But a lot of those guys they might lose after this year too. Yep. So this is like this is the year. If they don't figure it out this year, then they're probably going to be the bottom feeders of this division eventually with the Marlins. Milwaukee, great bullpen.
Josh Hader having a great year.
Yeah, great bullpen. One thing to note: if they lose their 2 best hitters, I think it's Shaw and I forgot the other guy's name already. They basically don't have any bats that I've seen because, like, I think they're leading in WAR, like top 2 in the NL, and then I think they're sprinkled like top in like homers, RBIs, and batting average. So hopefully they don't lose those 2 guys because that's keeping them because like you got the Cubs right behind them, and St. Louis they figured out this year how to win games and be consistent. Winning big games against the Cubs, I think that was a big win. But you didn't think so. And plus, they got the Pirates and the Cubs, or the Reds to beat up. Yeah. So I think it's gonna help them out.
Yeah.
Because they can lose those games. Like they can lose a 2-1 series or 3-game series. Like they get 1 game out of them against the Cubs and the Cardinals, and hopefully I would say they might lose a game. One game against the Reds and the Pirates to keep them afloat. Because I think they'll be at least a wild card team. I feel.
Okay.
And then we got what? We got the Diamondbacks. The Rockies were pretty hot so far this year with Gonzalez. Then what's his name?
Arenado.
Yeah, Arenado. So they've been kind of surprising in a way, but
Charlie Blackmon.
Yeah, Blackmon. That was the thing. They have a pitcher in there too.
The only one I can think of on the head is Tyler Anderson, but that's fine.
Yeah. But anyways, Dodgers. I think they're gonna eventually. They're about to get over 500. I think they're not a team that's gonna drop. Like they're not gonna be the team that a lot of people saw after the first couple of weeks that just drop off. I think I know they're losing. They might lose Kershaw, like we've already talked about.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Seager too. But if they make a big move too before the All-Star break, which they might, because Manny Machado, we thought they were going to drop him off after they played the Angels. So there's a thing there. But the NL West is not too bad either. I know, the Giants just dropped down to 500. No, they were barely getting up to 500, right?
Yeah.
Never mind. So it looks like they're heating up over there. Interesting year. The East is looking like it was like in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
So I think one of those teams is going to win the division. One of those teams is going to be wild card.
Top wild card.
Yeah.
Post the wild card game. Yeah. I think that just in general in the league, I think that it's been a really great year for young talent. I think there have been a lot of people that have come up this year.
Yes.
I feel like almost more so than maybe like the last few years. Maybe even since like Trout Harper, like in 11.
Yeah,
I feel like there's just like a lot of teams that have brought out very talented young players.
I think every team almost has like a rookie that's like has not been a standout, but has been like a contributor to their team.
Yeah,
which is like weird to say in a way. It's I don't know.
I feel like it's unusual for baseball, especially recently, to have this many youngsters contributing in the way that they have been.
But I also think it's also a factor in the sense of like a lot of teams didn't spend that money, so this is an effect of that. And now you're having, not that you have to, but you want, okay, this is the year, man. We're going to call you up, and this is when you want to make the most of it.
I think that the money problem partly stems from like what the free agent class is supposed to be next year. I think that a lot of teams are missing that like one extra piece that money that would have put them over the luxury tax this year, like they chose not to spend. And so I think there are like a lot of teams, maybe even just like the Astros, Red Sox, Yankees, that might be without obvious flaws.
Yes.
And everyone else is missing that like one piece to put them up in that category. I don't really have in the NL. I don't really have a standout. I think that the Braves in the East have really been surprising. I think everyone knew that Acuna was going to be really good. I think like the consistency that Albies
I think he has
been able to put forward.
He's had the most extra base hits since like Mantle, basically.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So I think that
there's a 21-year-old.
You were talking about like how you think the Nationals, like with their depth, they're gonna like not make a comeback, but like it'll finish the way you expect it to, despite the Braves doing so well. I think the Phillies have done well, but I expect the Phillies to die off. The Braves, though, the games that I've watched of them this year, it feels like their year. Mm-hmm. They have multiple ninth inning wins where they were down like 3+ runs. They had one just like a week ago that was 5. It just like they just keep finding a way to win games, and I feel like that's going to carry over. Like it just feels like their year. It feels special this year for the Braves. So I actually think right now the Braves are my favorite to win the NL East.
So there's what about the best team in general for the NL?
I don't know. I feel like it's so mediocre. For me personally, I feel like it's mediocre across the board. I feel like the NL Central is a bit of a slugfest, just like them constantly beating each other. And the West, the Diamondbacks got off to a really hot start, but they've definitely cooled. I know they're still leading in the NL West. Honestly, if it was a one-off game, I would pick the Braves. They've just like it's something special going on right now. Just all the extra inning wins, or the walk-off wins in the ninth inning at home. It's just like if I had to pick an NL team to win one game right now, it would be the Braves.
Okay.
I think disappointing teams for me so far are definitely the Twins, definitely the Indians. The Indians have had, over the last couple of years, a really strong bullpen, and that just hasn't seemed to click for them. Personally, I've been disappointed in the Angels. I think they're underachieving. But I think also there's a little bit more competition in the AL West than definitely was expected. I think the fact that the Mariners are leading without Cano and without D. Gordon, I just, in my mind, I can't imagine that being sustainable. But
yeah, I think after the All-Star break is when, or even before that, that's when that's just going to go. It's going to be chasing the Astros basically for the Angels, unfortunately. But like that's why when I say surprising, it's because it's just the Angels bullpen is just dreadful. Yeah, when we go to Angel games, it's like I think every Angel game where they're leading, the bullpen has either equalized the lead or has almost given up the lead.
Yeah, I know. And
that's a thing that's been going on for almost a decade now. And starting pitching for them as well, it's going to be like, we'll see, man. We'll see.
Yeah.
Like we're going to see how far you can get. And that's another bad thing too, when you cannot get past the sixth inning of pitching. It's like,
yeah. Pitch counts have been really high too.
It's not even like being a championship team; it's being a playoff team. That's a big thing. And I think batting wise, they just got to get the bats going. Obviously, what do they have? Simmons is having a great year, and it sucks for him because like we were listening to the Angels baseball after the game against Texas and talk about how it was before, how he might not get into the All-Star game because so many good shortstops in the AL, which sucks. But that's just the way it is. But I think he's having a great year. I don't know. I think he's already had I remember watching that Gold Glove, so maybe another Gold Glove year for him as well. But I know he had an error from one of the games we watched already. Yeah, that's not looking good. So hopefully. But yeah, I mean, it's been a great year for me so far. I think watching all these rookies play, and just watching baseball in general, it's been fun. I think the unwritten rule stuff, is starting to. I'm starting to notice that a little bit. Okay. On celebrations, I think that void or that kind of not void. That barrier is going to start to be chewed apart in a way because I think that makes baseball a little bit more exciting, and it makes it more appealing to the younger generation as well. Mm-hmm. So I think we're going to see a little bit. I'm hoping to see a little bit more of that. It just makes it a little bit more entertaining. Okay. I'm not saying that you got to be like football, celebrating in the end zone, but the dude hit a home run and he stares at it a little bit. Calm down, man. He's just calm down.
Maybe don't pitch in that pitch.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just I don't know. I watched too many of the montage videos of all that stuff. So, and I've seen how much it's been relevant recently, and a lot of pitchers dude, calm down.
Yeah.
But one thing to do also know is the 30 sliding going on this year as well.
Yeah.
Is one thing I do not like. Regardless of you trying to stop a guy from throwing the ball for the double play and stuff, I just that's one thing I'm just I don't like because it's the same thing with football, getting hit from behind with a clipping or something like that, or a guy catching a punt and you call it the fair catch, the guy still hits him. I consider that almost in the same realm. I don't like it when you're almost deliberately hurting the player. I know you're trying to prevent them from either holding on to the ball or throwing the ball. But that's that's one thing I do not hold high. I'm just that's one of the things that really upsets me. Just hurting people in general that don't need to be hurt.
Yeah. I don't know how we're doing on time, but I guess real quick, MVP, Rookie of the Year,
Mike Trout.
Mike Trout. Even above Mookie Betts? Mookie Betts is beating. I know Mookie Betts is leading the league in on base percentage. He's actually, I think the last I looked, it was 513, something ridiculous. He's on base every other time. I think what separates Trout is
home runs.
Well, home run. He's leading the league in home runs. His chase rate on he has an incredible eye at the plate, and I think he's more of a well-rounded player than Mookie Betts.
Well, I think Mookie's one probably this year is the year he's gonna oh hey, I'm Mookie Betts. I think last year was probably the year where you probably said it, but you know his name. But this year is another good. He's gonna have a great year. But I think I think he's not gonna have the stamina that Trout has right now, man. like you said, dude, he's having a mental year, dude. He's a Hall of Fame.
He had his that 5-for-5 game in New York. He just he keeps getting better. Everything that he's doing this year, he's better at everything that he's ever.
And the thing is, people I remember when he came into the league, you talked about how people figured him out, but he's figured a way to prevent from people figuring him out.
Yeah, and
that's the thing. But we'll see. Hopefully, he stays healthy as well. Yeah. Hopefully, Mookie stays healthy as well. That's what we would wish for. That creates more baseball. It creates more entertaining baseball. We're gonna go more Angel games as a result of that, but. I would say a guy that, like I said, Trout's just been a great player this year. Maybe it's just because I haven't watched as much because we're in Orange County, so we have the Angel games here all the time.
Yeah.
But I've watched the Astros Boston. I've watched New York Boston. I've watched the Toronto game against them. That team is just, I think, because I see all their stacked lineup. I feel it kind of degrades him, but he's just as good as a player, and I think he has better supporting batters around him as well. What's his name? The guy that was a rookie last year, rookie to be,
Andrew Benintendi.
Benintendi, there you go. Great hit. Yeah. He had that big monster.
Yeah, he definitely. Mookie Betts definitely has a better supporting cast, and JD Martinez having a big year as well. I think he'd be in the third for me. What do you think? Cy Young for me, it's obviously Verlander.
Verlander for the AL. NL, I don't have a clear guy at the moment. I need to watch more NL baseball. I need to watch more Dodger games, I think, in general. But I think we don't get Dodger games because it's Spectrum. But
yeah,
I think that's why I don't watch as much NL baseball as much, because we only really get it for the MLB tonight. We don't have the extra innings. Who's gonna pay for extra? That's too many innings. maybe I need to get the ESPN app like you, because there's NL games all the time on there. I watch a lot of the Cubs, but there's no stand-up pictures for me on the Cubs right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of who would be my NL Cy Young. For AL, definitely Verlander. He's having a great year, better than I think anyone even expected. Even and those were high expectations. I think if anyone was to sneak in there and take it from him, I think it would be Sale, Boston. I think that he had 100. He broke 100 strikeouts in his first 10 starts this year. So he's just putting people away crazy.
I think Sale and Porcello, and then. I forgot who the other two guys were. There were 4 guys that they ranked them 100. The most wins that guys are under 30. Porcello was at 138 because he's had great years with the Tigers, but Sale, because obviously he started with the White Sox.
I think in the NL, for me, both MVP and Cy Young is kind of up in the air. Like I said, I don't really feel like there's any standout teams and any standout player. I feel like it's everyone. The good teams in the NL and the best players in the NL are kind of just running it they're all above average, but none of them are truly outstanding. I feel rookie of the year in the AL, it has to be Ohtani for me. He's hitting better than most rookies, and he's also looks to be an ace quality starter.
Yeah. What's his first year too? I think he'll definitely be the ace for the Angels in the coming years. They just need to get another good pitcher with them and another decent pitcher with them, which we might get when Barrios. How do you say his name?
Barea?
Barea.
Yeah.
And then because you said they might not sign Garrett Richards after this year, if guys can somehow turn into something, or they just need to replace. They just need to get someone else in there because they just need. I think if they had better starting pitching, the bullpen would look just as bad too. That's another thing.
Yeah. And I think on the NL side, Acuna has had a really great start to his career, but I think the one that always sticks out to me is Walker Buehler. I think, and maybe even for Cy Young. I don't know the last time a rookie pitcher won the Cy Young, but or maybe if it's even happened.
He's rocking a decent ERA. I think it's definitely under 3.
Walker Buehler right now is keeping the Dodgers afloat. Honestly, I believe. I think especially with them being out without Kershaw. And the simultaneous fact that the Giants were without Bumgarner, I think that I just think that Walker Buehler, what he's done. I think literally, I think the only person that's overshadowing him is Ohtani, and that's really only because Ohtani is batting as well.
I got a couple of rookie cards too.